Second or two. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dissecting the Quran series with Dr. Kufer and Mr. Paul Sutliff. I think it'll be just the two of us today, unless somebody wants to come up. And we pick up, I believe it is chapter 8, verse number 60. Let's see what kind of mess we can get ourselves into. But before we do that, let's do a little short intro. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, that was definitely a short one. Let's bring up the Quran. Let me just do one thing. Let me mute myself.
So we're doing what Islam fears most, encouraging people to read the Quran. That is one of the funniest things when you think about it, that we are doing what Islam fears most. And we're waiting for Kufar to come back. One of the funny things about reading the Quran is you find out how many mistakes are in it, and they're just a never-ending amount. And you discover that there's such a thing as the God of perhaps.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Muslims keep telling me the book is 100% perfect. It has no errors, no contradictions. But yet we keep finding that this is the most disjointed, incoherent piece of work that we've ever come across.
You know, and that's the thing. I like Usama. Osama is 100% right. Tell people to read it, not burn it. Read this book. Don't ban it. Tell people to read it so they leave Islam and they find Jesus. It's just, to me, it's humorous that they have so much that doesn't make sense. And they call this scripture. I mean, there's nothing clear about it. There's nothing complete about it. Because you have to read the Bible to figure out what some of these things are actually talking about.
Yeah, that's the weird part. I mean, there's many verses throughout the Quran that say that this is a book that's clear. This is a book that's explained in detail. This is a book clarifying everything. But it doesn't clarify anything, and it doesn't explain anything. All right, we got one.
There are no details. It's like
I know.
The only detail I found in this book makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
One detail. In fact, I put it as part of the Jeopardy game I put up because the time we spent talking about it. The one detail that just blows my mind: the bright yellow cow.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
And you know, the people were saying, "What is it? What is it?" And Allah had to tell them it was a cow because they didn't believe it. So what does that say about Allah? In fact, Darcy was on this show, and I says, "Darcy, have you ever worked on a farm?" She's like, "Yes." I was like, "Oh, have you ever seen a bright yellow cow?" She's like, "No."
Yeah, I was just going to ask that very same question. Have you ever seen? I mean, I used to go to the Publix, which is like the major food store down in Florida. And one of the stores that we would go to that was next to the house was right next to a big cow pasture. So there was cows all over the place because that particular, I guess, town used to be nothing but cow pastures. And then I guess they sold the land and they built it up to where, you know, it became a community. You had shops, you had movie theaters, you had all this stuff, but there was still certain parts of the town that had pastures. And so I used to take my son when he was smaller and we would go watch the cows and he would pet them. I never saw a bright yellow cow.
So again, if we're doing, this is what we're doing today is what Islam fears most, encouraging people to read the Quran because it does not make sense. It's clear as mud.
Okay, so let's go. We are verse 60. And just in case Brother Osama watches us later or is watching, got to read his his comments
I
there.
think he's doing a
Muslims
show
are.
in Indonesia right now.
Oh, okay.
So he does a live broadcast, I think, for Indonesia or the Philippines right now.
Ah, okay. Muslims are commanded to attack and terrorize the infidels. Hey, there's no terror in Islam. Remember, Allah will repay them for what they spend. This is the theme which Muslim believers often use, as seen in the Brotherhood's logo. Notice that, excuse me, notice that the verse 61 is abrogated by 9:5. Okay, verse 60. And prepare for them whatever power you can, and of the tying of horses. What the heck does that even mean? Prepare them whatever power you can, and of the tying of horses. Okay.
Well, if you're preparing for war, I don't see how that has to do with tying of horses, but
Yeah, I don't know. That's Allah's beauty of the Quran. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Maybe if you're a 2-year-old, but for us adults here, with at least, heck, I would even say just basic high school education, you would be scratching your head and like,
but
okay,
they wouldn't allow women to do that because they would read the Quran and then they'd leave it.
yeah. Well, I think that is the problem that we've noticed. I have heard ex-Muslims say that once they actually read the Quran, not just recite it, not just have somebody else tell them what's in it or explain what's in it, but actually read the Quran, look at the sources. The only conclusion that I could come to is you got to leave it. This is a joke. Okay, strike terror into the enemy of Allah and your enemy and others. Without them, you do not know them. What? Allah
So
knows them.
hold on. It said strike terror into the enemy of Allah. Who's saying that? Is that Allah saying this?
Well, it doesn't say kul, which is Arabic for say. I'm going to have to say it's Allah.
So Allah is responsible and the creator of terrorism.
Yes.
And that's
And
what people don't get.
Allah
Who
has
claims that?
enemies. Now, can somebody explain to me how the Almighty God has enemies? Who are his enemies? Surely it can't be these poor unbelievers. What exactly? Okay, you and I were unbelievers according to Allah. What exactly can we do to Allah? Can you do something to Allah? I mean, I can't.
Well, we can scare Allah by not
I mean,
believing
I
in
can
him.
shoot him a birdie. I can talk
If we can
about him,
scare Allah, what does that say about Allah?
but I can't. There's nothing that I can do to the Creator. Okay, and clearly, well, we can tell that it's Allah speaking because it says, "Strike terror into the enemy of Allah and your enemy." Okay, so we know it's not Muhammad speaking, and others, and to your enemy and others. Okay, so strike terror not just to the enemy of Allah and your enemy and others. Who are these others? Okay, and others.
I can't figure that part out. They gotta come up with new words.
And without them, you do not know them. What the hell is this? Without them, you do not know them. Without who?
And that's where, again, it has to do with you should be able to communicate clearly. And if your God is too small, I mean, that's what it comes down to. They have a God that's too small to understand this. I mean, if you can't communicate clearly, that's a serious learning disability as well, but there's nothing clear.
I mean, this is probably one of them, but this one so far is going to take maybe first place in this chapter. And prepare for them whatever power you can. I don't understand what he means by power. Weapons, I don't know, swords, spears,
And it's the
bows.
tying of horses. I mean, I would have thought camels.
Yeah, and the tying of horses. What the hell does that have to do? Okay, I got to strike terror into the enemies of Allah because apparently this God has enemies, and your enemy and others.
An enemy, you would think for an enemy to exist, they'd at least have to be equal or greater power. So is this a passage where Allah is saying there are other gods?
I mean, could be. I don't know, but I'm just confused where it says the enemy of Allah. So Allah has an enemy. Muhammad has an enemy, or the Muslims have an enemy, and others. Others what? And then it goes on to say, without them, you do not know them. Allah knows them. And what you spend from and what you spend from anything for the sake of Allah, it will be repaid to you, and you will not be dealt with unjustly. So yeah, we know if you got money, cough it up so that it can be
Well,
used
this is
for
supposed to.
purposes
Well,
of
we're not
war.
always talking about spending. Osama said it
Yeah.
was always about your good works, but it almost sounds like cash here. This is one of the
Yeah,
things.
this one you're spending tangible goods, whether it's money or maybe you're contributing to the war, right? Good deeds do not win wars. So this has to be this to me. This has to be monetary, and you're providing them with money to buy,
So
weapons, swords.
Islamic doctrine says that if you support jihad, and this is what Sharia says, if you support jihad, which you're required to, every Muslim is required to support jihad with 2.5% of their zakat. But if you support jihad, you get the same reward as a jihadi. So
See,
that's
that doesn't sound fair to me because I'm giving you money, you're fighting and putting your life at risk, so you should get at least a 10% more than I do. Actually,
oh
more
no,
because
that's the stuff that you're going to sit there and ask about. But that's what the claim is in the Quran, and I mean it's said over and over again that they talk about the person who provides the income for jihad for terrorism, which Allah says He is responsible for.
I mean, seriously, how does that make sense? Okay, I'm doing the actual fighting, Paul. You supply the money so that I can get my weaponry, but I'm going out there, I'm risking my life, I'm doing the fighting, getting sliced and diced, and I die. And you and I get the same thing. That is not fair. That is not fair. You should get maybe only 70 hoes while I get 72 for at least dying for the cause.
Yeah.
Give me at least two extra ones. All right, 61. And if they lean toward peace, so lean toward it. So if your enemies want peace, you give them peace and depend on Allah. I'm sorry, but so far, 8 chapters, I can't depend on a God, especially a God who is a God of maybe and perhaps, and a God who has enemies. And apparently he needs people to fight his wars. How many times did God of the Bible just wipe people out by himself?
And the
Didn't
close, I mean, we get to the God of the Bible wipes people out with. I mean, that happens.
right.
They're opposing God. They're opposing His people, and God acts. It just shows how minuscule and they're usually following these other gods and bringing their god. They're trying to show how strong they are by bringing their other gods against the Jewish people. And you know what? Those other gods end up bowing. Their arms get broken off on their own. It just happens. Yeah.
What was the name of that prophet? Was it
Elijah.
Elijah, where God sent the bears and killed the 40 young guys that were mocking him?
I think that's Elijah. I can double check that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay because my point is here we have people, these young adults were because they weren't kids. Muslims like to tell us, "Oh, look, your God killed all the little kids with the bears." But if we dig deep into it, they're not like little kids. But anyway, these individuals mocked a prophet of God, and God dealt with them by using one of his creations, the bears, to take care of them. Muhammad,
It's
when he
Elisha.
got
I'm sorry.
insulted,
It's Elisha.
okay, Muhammad, when he got insulted, what did he do? He had his compadres go out there and murder these people.
Well, he actually says that when he gets mocked, it's when he's supposed to be in a peaceful time. This is where it really gets bad. According to Surah al-Rasul, they're insulting him when he's walking around the Kaaba, or however you want to pronounce it. And he says, "I bring you slaughter." All right, he's still living there. If Mecca actually existed, I mean, but he's still living amongst them. Doesn't that sound like he's going to commit an act of treason and try and kill those who are in leadership?
Yep. And I listen, this is my prediction. I predict as a prophet that probably in the next 10 to less than 20 years, we're going to find out that Islam is, well, we already know what it is. It's nothing but a bunch of lies. It's nothing but a creation of a political system, the Abbasids. Nothing took place during the time that is supposed to have taken place. There was no Muhammad. Maybe there might have been an individual whose name was Muhammad, but all of this was just fabrication in order to give notoriety to a bunch of people who became powerful and took over. And we'll find out the Quran is not what it says. Well, I mean, we have enough evidence today to prove that the Quran is not what Muslims tell us. But I think that more and more evidence is going to be brought forth from different groups, the Germans, the French, and other people that are doing, deep dives into this. And it's all going to find out. And Muslims are going to be in for a very rude awakening. Okay, so 61, if they lean towards peace or truth, so lean towards it and depend on Allah, surely He is the hearing, the knowing. Okay, and if they desire to deceive you, so surely Allah is sufficient for you. He is who supported you with His victory and with the believers. And I think the believers here is referring to the angels. I'm not sure which battle, but supposedly there was a couple battles where in one battle Allah supposedly gave 1,000 angels, in another battle He
But would we
provided
know this if we're just
3,000.
reading the Quran? That's one of the issues we keep running into. If this is supposed to be clear, there should be details that communicate what they're actually talking about.
Right. I mean, you have to go to outside sources to even know what battle is taking place.
I mean, it's not clear. I mean, what they lean towards peace or truce, and truces in Islam are only allowed for a 10-year period. After 10 years, they're supposed to attack. They're supposed to be strong enough again to attack. So that's why you'll see whenever there's a peace treaty signed, it's signed for 10 years when you're signing it with an Islamic group until they become stronger.
Yes, and then we know that even Muhammad said if he found something better, he would break his oath. So you can't even trust a man.
And this is their prophet that they want us to trust, but he won't even be.
This is a prophet that says, "Hey, okay, I'm gonna make a deal with Paul, but if John comes along and offers me a better deal, well, guess what? I'm going to screw Paul over. I'm going to take the better deal." I mean, this is not somebody that you could trust. I don't recall Moses saying, "Hey, if a group of people make a deal with me or a treaty with me, but if somebody makes a better one, I'm going to break my vows." So this just shows that I think Muhammad is really Allah, and Allah just coming along for the ride.
Aisha kind of tells us that, but
Yeah.
she kind of says Allah does what Muhammad wants, but she's doing it in a roundabout way, and that's part of the. If you want to read the Hadiths, you'll find that.
Right. Yeah, and it's always when Muhammad gets into trouble, or he does something that nobody else is supposed to do,
or he wants something, like he wants time with his wives. So he says to the people who want to come and enjoy a dinner with him, "Hey, after you're done eating, go home."
Get the hell out of here, man. There's the door. What's funny is Rob Christian has a video on that about him, being embarrassed to tell people, "Hey, get the hell out of my house, man. It's 3:00 in the morning. Get out of here." All right,
3:00 in the morning. I'm kicking them out way before that.
Yeah, I know, man. 63, and he has attuned between their hearts, and he has attuned between their hearts. What does that even mean? And he has attuned between their hearts. Okay. If you had spent all of what is on the earth, you could not have a tune between their hearts. But Allah has a tune. Is this like you're getting your car tuned up?
Oh,
I
look
have
up.
no clue what that
I
means.
think I have a. I just want to look up the definition one more time of a tune. So hold on, and we'll be fair that way.
Let me look up. Let
So
me
a
bring up.
tune means to bring into harmony.
Let me see.
So if he has it put harmony between their hearts, could not have put harmony between their hearts. Allah has okay. So again, if we're talking about peace, this isn't harmony for Muslims. That's again, this is somewhat deceptive because if a Muslim is making a peace with you, and you're not the Muslim, you're not Islamic. He's making peace with you. It's so he can become stronger and defeat you. This is what we learn from Islam. This is what we learn from the Quran. This is what we learn from Sharia, the Hadith. That's what it says over and over again. So this harmony, and they're saying he has a tune between. There is a little bit deceptive.
Yeah, I'm reading the literal from Islam Awaken, and it says, and he has put affection between their hearts. And if you had spent whatever is okay, if you had spent whatever is in the earth, and not you could have put affection between their hearts, but Allah has put affection between them. Indeed, He is the Almighty. So this one is
That's rather
translated
deceptive as well because
as affection.
yeah, because jihad, the first level of jihad is all about hatred.
Yeah, so affection, I don't know about affection, but hey, again, it doesn't matter what translation you read, it just does not make sense. Okay, hold on a second. I didn't know they hadn't finished yet. Okay, but Allah has attuned between them. Surely He is dear, wise. Oh, you prophet. We don't know which prophet. See, again, how do I know that this is Muhammad?
We don't know because it doesn't tell us anywhere that Muhammad is a prophet.
Right. There's 124,000 prophets, messengers sent throughout the time. Okay. We don't know, but
wait. It gets better. How many times is Muhammad mentioned in the Quran? Actually mentioned
by the name Muhammad 4.
Yeah, and not one of those. This shows you how unimportant Muhammad is. I mean, his name's mentioned over and over again throughout the Gospels and throughout the New Testament.
25 times for Jesus.
Yeah.
100, I think 145.
Oh, wait, Isa. You're saying Isa 25 times?
Yeah, Isa.
Okay, that's not Jesus, but yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 25 times for Isa. How many times is Moses mentioned?
I think 145.
Okay, so all these people are greater in the Quran than Muhammad. So again, and they don't tell us he's a prophet any place. No. But again, you learn this from reading the Quran like we're doing.
And I mean, even Isa, right from the cradle, right after being born in a little taiga, he says, I am a prophet of Allah. Wow, look at that. This Isa could talk from the cradle, and he says, I am a prophet of Allah. We can't find Muhammad saying, I am a prophet of Allah, and the man can't read and write according to Muslims. Okay, Allah ordered Muhammad to incite people to kill the infidels. You can find this also in verses 216, 217, 244, which we've already covered. Chapter 3, verse 121, we did that. 476, 812, we did that. 1339, and we haven't got the 67 and so forth. Compare this to Matthew.
I don't think you have to keep reading them all because one of the things we've been talking about over and over again, and Osama said it over and over again as well, is how repetitive. How much would be left if we took out all the repetition?
I think about 40%. Now, this is the one that it's funny. Okay, then this is compared this to Matthew 43:48. Notice how Allah changed his mind concerning the number of Muslim fighters as he learned about their weaknesses. Now, this is a God who didn't know people had weaknesses. This is the great evidence that Allah is not all-knowing. Okay, so in chapter 65, now this is Allah. Oh, you prophet.
So this is chapter 8, verse 65.
Yes. Okay. Oh, you prophet, provoke the believers to engage in war. Okay. It doesn't say, oh, you prophet, provoke the believers to engage in defensive war or protection. No, this is telling them to engage in war.
Jihad.
This does not sound defensive, ladies and gentlemen. If there will be 20 patient, let me see, number 5, steadfast in fighting, okay, of you, they will have victory over 200. Whoa, 20 Muslims are going to be able to kick some booty of over 200 infidels. And if there will be 100 of you, they will have a victory over 1,000 of those who became infidels, because they are people who do not understand. So anybody who does not understand, of course, becomes an infidel. So Allah basically is saying, if you look at the ratios, this is one Muslim is going to be victorious over 10 unbelievers. But now in chapter 66, now Allah has lightened for you, and he knows that there is weakness in you.
Wait a minute. Did he not know it earlier?
That's a very good question. Because
so he just said you could. So 20
Muslims,
people will kick butt over 200, and if there's 100, they'll kick butt over. So that's 10 times the amount. 100 people will kill 1,000.
Right. But now Allah knows. Now I've been told by some Arabic speakers that the word is not he knows, but the word is he knew. That's even worse. I'm going to have to look into that one. Because if it really is he knew, that means that in verse 65, he sent these people to get slaughtered. He knew that there was a weakness.
And these were his followers. So he didn't care.
But either way, this is very concerning, because either Allah was a really, really a-hole and wanted to see people get killed, or he really didn't know. Either way, this is not good for Muslims. Okay, so what was I? Now Allah has lightened for you, and he knows that there is weakness in you. So if there will be 100 patient ones of you. Now notice that I think it should say if there will be 100 patient ones of you, you will have victory over 200 instead of they. That doesn't make sense.
Well, that's part of the. You're not wrong. We keep running into issues with pronouns, because that is a continual problem throughout the Quran.
Yeah. So they will have victory over 200. So now 100 will defeat 200. So now the ratio of 1 to 10 is now 1 to 2. And if there will be 1,000 of you, they will have victory over 2,000. Same thing. It's still 1 over, by Allah's permission. Well, I guess Allah didn't give permission.
So wait a minute. Allah's not sure still.
Yes. And Allah is with the patient.
So wait a minute. If it's so, you just said this. You just said by Allah's permission, and then it says Allah is with the patient. So is Allah with them, or is he not with them?
And apparently Allah didn't give permission to the people in verse 65, because one Muslim couldn't defeat 10 unbelievers. So Allah didn't give permission for that. So yeah, this is Allah, ladies and gentlemen, the God who doesn't know that there was a weakness. Now I've seen so many different, what's a good word? So many different stories of how Muslims try to, wiggle their way out of this, such as, oh, this was a test from Allah to see which believers would be steadfast. Oh, Muhammad couldn't find the 200 steadfast. The fact of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, if you read this verse, okay, and if it actually says what it says, let me see what it actually says. But every translation that I've read pretty much says the same thing. Allah's telling Muhammad to tell the believers that one guy can defeat 10 guys. Oh, Prophet, urge the believers to fight. If there are among you 20 steadfast, they will overcome 200. And if there are among you 100, they will overcome 1,000 of those who disbelieve. Okay, so not much of a difference there. Let me go to the next verse. Where's the next? Over here. Okay, and then if we go to the next one, it says, now has Allah lightened for you, and he knows that in you there is weakness. So he didn't know before. He knew after they went to war and got their butts kicked. Yes.
Again, if he knew, he
That's
knew.
even worse. Yes. Yeah. Marion is correct. Allah needed to see it to believe it. Hey, Albanian.
Doesn't it sound rather human?
How are you, my brother? Albanian Prince, thank you for coming. Hey, brother Charlie. Narrator Aisha, once the prophet was bewitched so that he began to imagine that, yep, he had sex with all his wives, but turns out he never did. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I recall having sex with my wife, and I didn't even.
Here's the thing. I mean, what Aisha's statement there actually backs up. There's a book out there called "Is the World's Most Notorious Prophet," and it makes a claim that Muhammad had temporal lobe seizures, and Aisha's statement here actually backs that up, because it speaks of delusional type things happening, and that is a symptom of temporal lobe seizures.
Right. There's another book. I don't know what the name of it is. I have it, and it pretty much says the same thing. It's a hard book to read, but it goes into the same topic that you're in, trying to prove. I think it's called Muhammad versus the Court or something like that. I'll have to look at it. And it's about his mental state of health.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. These delusions. Yeah. There's a lot of medical professionals who actually discuss this. They'll list him as someone, when they talk about famous people who had epilepsy, they used to mention his name quite a lot, but now since they're trying to kill people who tell the truth about Muhammad, they're probably not mentioning his name as much.
Yeah, and that's pretty much
they weren't trying to insult. They were just trying to be factual.
Right. Okay. Muslims are instructed not to take prisoners, slaves, as they slaughter people throughout the earth until after their victory is assured. So until they know that they're going to be victorious, it's kill, 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 and spoil is lawful. So let's go 67. Allah's got to make up for having all these Muslims get killed, because he gave them a false pep talk. Okay, if that would have been my manager, I would have fired him. That's kind of like a football team getting a pep talk, and man, they get their butts kicked on the fields. I would fire that coach. 67. It was not for a prophet to take captives until he had made great slaughter in the land. Okay. You desire the widths. Number 6. The riches. Okay. Why couldn't he just say the riches? Come on, Osama, you're killing me. Okay.
That's what he said. He said he's fixing is you will no longer see these numbers in his next on his update.
You desire the riches of this world, and Allah desires
So if Allah desires the hereafter, he's not dead. He's not in the hereafter. Wait a minute, that makes Allah a human, doesn't it?
Yeah. Why would
if Allah desires the hereafter?
In order for you to have a desire for the hereafter, that means you have to die.
You have to be a human.
Yes, because humans are the only ones to die.
Does this make Mo Allah?
Or living creatures.
So every Muslim out there, please read this chapter 8, verse 67.
Let me go to the okay, so Allah desires the hereafter. Now, it would have been more appropriate. Okay, I mean, you and I could write a much better. And
so like what's a hereafter for somebody who's a god?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am not a native Arabic speaker, so sometimes when I write, I do make mistakes. But I would have written this: you desire the riches of this world, and Allah desires for you the hereafter.
No, Allah desires the hereafter, according
But this one says,
Mo
and
here.
Allah desires the hereafter. Now they could say, well, Allah is talking about the you. Okay, but either way, this is not very good communication skills.
So
Okay,
did you have a? Do you want to go to Islam Awakened and see what those comments are?
Yeah, let me see.
That might be fun to do.
We're in 67, right?
867.
Yeah, okay, so let me go and read this. Okay. Not is for the not is for a prophet that there should be for him prisoners of war until he has battled strenuously in the land. You desire the commodities of the world, but Allah desires for you the hereafter. See, now they put the for you in parentheses, which means it's not in the Arabic.
Yes.
So it really would still read, but Allah desires the hereafter. So they really haven't done much except, put the correction in there. Like I said, it would have been correct if they would have said, but Allah desires for you the hereafter. Because
that's a huge difference in meaning, don't you think?
Because for me, without the for you, it says that Allah desires the hereafter. And if Allah, like you said, desires the hereafter, then Allah is a mere human, because only the hereafter is only for humans who die and then are resurrected. So Allah is going to die. He's hoping for the hereafter. Oh man, I'm going to have to use this one on what do you call it? On Clubhouse.
So, I mean, that would be a great name for a room. Let me know when you do that one. I want to be there.
Allah desires the hereafter for himself. Okay.
Yeah, I'd have fun with that one.
Okay. And Allah is dear wise. Okay. 68. Were it not for a predetermined decree from Allah, a great torment would have touched you because of what you have taken. I do not know what they took, that Allah would do a great torment, and he predetermined a decree. But what decree?
So what I do know is that there was an issue over booty, and people were taking the booty before Muhammad got his 20%, and so now you have to wait till Muhammad takes his 20%, and then you can take your portion of the booty. But he gets the pick of the litter. So he gets to look at them, find out who's the most beautiful slave. He gets to look at the money, whatever. He gets his 20%, then the warriors can have what's left.
Oh, this one is even worse. Oh, it's getting better. Okay, 69. So eat of the spoils you have taken lawfully in good and fear Allah. Surely Allah is forgiving and merciful. Well, if I'm reading this, that means, man, my spoils are only food. I can't eat gold. I can't eat silver. I could eat the camels and all the livestock. But notice, this just makes no sense.
So they go in, and this is like, when you think about this, when they go in, they're taking villages and whatever else. So they slaughter a lot of this is part of the issues with a war like this. You go in, they slaughter the animals that they can, and they'll go in, there's food in the residence of the people they just killed. Yeah, there's food.
But this verse, to me, it infers that you're only supposed to take stuff that you can eat as spoils.
Well, here's the thing, if you're taking something and you can eat it right away, yeah, that might not be considered something you have to put down with the rest of the booty. You can just eat it. But and that Muhammad probably wouldn't be upset about. He wouldn't consider that that he has to get the 20% out of, because you can just eat.
Because again, you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver, you can't eat anything that's tangible unless it's food. All right. So those who engage in the war for Allah will receive mercy and noble provisions. See, you got to bribe these brain dead Muslims to go to war, and you got to bribe them with mercy and noble. Did you know that Muhammad used to pay people to remain a Muslim?
Yes.
Yeah, look at that. I wonder if Moses and all the other prophets of God had to bribe people to stay. It's kind of like say, hey, listen, man, I'll give you $5,000 if you stay a Muslim. Don't tell anybody. All right. 70. Oh, you prophets, say to whoever is in your hands of the captives. Okay. If Allah knows anything good in your hearts, he will bring good to you than that which he took from you, and he will forgive you. And Allah is forgiving, merciful. Okay, so, O prophet, say to, okay, so he's saying, go tell the captives that if Allah knows anything good in your heart. Well, what do you mean if Allah knows?
Maybe Allah doesn't know.
Okay, so if Allah knows that there's good in their heart, he will bring good to you. Okay, but these are your captives. Now, what does it mean by Allah is going to bring good to them?
So he's
Is
going to
that
make them into sex slaves, and that's good for them.
right? I'm thinking here, okay, he's going to release you. Okay, but I guess not. Maybe, I guess being a sex slave is good for you.
I mean,
It's
they had
definitely,
no problem with killing off the men.
yeah, it's definitely good for the Muslims because they get to enjoy you, right? And Paul, I find it funny because there's hadiths that say about how Muhammad gave permission for uh, the warriors to have sex with the captive women, even if their husbands was alive. So basically, he is
Even
condoning
if
rape.
their wives were alive, yeah.
Right? He's condoning rape because what woman, after having
Yeah.
her village or town slaughtered, murdered,
Oh,
ravished,
you
destroyed.
were talking about. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. You're talking about the women that are getting raped. Their husbands are still there,
Right.
and yeah, it's okay to take them. And
Yeah.
and the issue was the men were thinking, oh, we have to wait. You know, we have to. We want sex now, and we don't want to wait, so we'll have to masturbate. And like, no, Muhammad says, no, these are for you. These are, yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
basically, and Muslims don't understand. None of these captive women, whether they were married or whether they were single, no captive woman is going to give herself to you. I mean, seriously.
You
That
just
that's
killed her
called
husband, whatever you
yeah.
just did, and
The
she has no
husband, the
choice.
father, the
No, no, no.
mother, maybe her younger brother, or what have you. Regardless, they're not going to want to have sex with you. Therefore, it's forced sex, aka you just raped a woman. So rape is
Exactly.
okay. I don't see that. And then they say, well, Moses, the Israelites, they raped a little captive. No, it doesn't say any of that. And this is how you can tell that Muslims have nothing but sex on their mind because they equate everybody else as being like them and raping the captive
Well,
women.
I mean, in truth, their concept of marriage is all about sex because there's no real marriage in the Quran. It's all
Yeah.
about the F word.
71. And if they desire to betray you, so indeed they betrayed Allah before you, so he subdued them. What is he trying to tell me here? That these people are captive because they betrayed Allah? So Allah subdued them by having the Muslims, attack their town, their village, and slaughter the people and then take captive. And
So
Allah is knowing and wise. But why is it
wait a
through?
minute. Allah didn't even know if there was anything good in their heart. How is he all knowing?
Yeah, I don't know.
And how is he wise if he doesn't? It says if Allah knows. It's a contradiction in
But
that
yet
one
Allah
verse.
is all knowing.
Verses.
Remember, 72. Surely those who have believed and immigrated and performed jihad. Now, to me, that immigrated means they became Muslim and performed jihad with their money and their lives for the sake of Allah. Okay, so this is what you were telling me. Okay, so you can support Allah with your money, okay? And those who gave asylum and helped, those are friends to one another. And those who believed and did not immigrate, you owe no duty of protection at all until they immigrate. And if they seek help from you in their religion, so your duty is to help them. except against the people with whom you have a covenant, and Allah sees what they do. Okay, man, this is a brain teaser here.
And Allah sees, so it's not they. If they, this is a pronoun issue again. If they seek help from you in the religion, so your duty is to help them. Okay, so you and them, we got that. They seek help from you. It's your duty to help them, except against the people with whom you have a covenant. Okay, you have a covenant. All right.
So it seems like that you're not a believer unless you do jihad with your money or with your life, okay? For the
Yes.
money and their lives for the sake of Allah. And those who gave asylum and helped, those are friends to one another.
So
Okay.
so the asylum issue is he sent people to Abyssinia because of the persecuted Muslim population. And Abyssinia was a Christian country at that point, run by a Christian king. And he converted this guy converted to Christianity. He left paganism. And even Muhammad said he was a just guy. Oh, so he's testifying to this just man who was a believer in Jesus. Yeah.
I think that's all BS, but that's just me. All right. So if the people don't, and those who believed and did not
I'll
immigrate,
be right back.
you owe no duty or protection at all until they immigrate. And if they seek help from you and the religion, so your duty is to help them, except against the people with whom you have a covenant. Okay, so don't fight those who you have a covenant or a treaty with. And Allah sees what you do. Okay. Righty here. Let me look at something. Do we have any crazy bots today? I haven't seen any bots yet. Yes. You see, Marion, the Quran is a very confused book. Okay. We read, I think, and I don't know if it was this chapter, where Allah creates a portion of people and a portions of jinn for hellfire. But we don't know if you're in that group or not. So it's a crap shot, ladies and gentlemen. It's a crap shot. Okay. Paul must have had to do something. All right. I guess I'll continue. By going off to war, Muslims prove that they are true believers. So if you don't go to war, you're a lukewarm believer. 73. And those who became infidels are friends to one another. If you do not do this, okay, what is number 7? Fighting the infidels and supporting the Muslims. So if you do not fight the infidels and support the Muslims, there will be sedition in the land and a big vandalizing. What are you going to do? You going to do graffiti on the mountains?
So if you don't support the war, I mean, this is the corruption in the land issue that they talk about. And this corruption in the land, I mean, this is dangerous stuff. I mean, sedition is probably one of the most horrible crimes. Next to treason, it's the worst. And, I personally think when there's sedition, I have no problem with execution as a result. But that's me, because I've seen enough sedition from just tracking the Muslim Brotherhood within the United States. But, yeah.
We got some of that sedition going on right now. It's been going on for a while, for at least the last year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got Mr. Dementia and whoever else running the country.
Okay, 74. And, okay, so basically what Osama's trying to tell us is that you're not a true believer unless you go to war. You're kind of like a lukewarm dude. You're not quite sure. Like I said, you're not going to get 72 virgins. You might get 36. Who knows? 74. And those who believed and immigrated and performed jihad for the sake of Allah. Wait a minute. Didn't we just read this damn thing?
Yeah, that's where it repeats over and over again. This is actually extremely important. And those who believed and emigrated. And what did they do next? So what happened in 2015, in 2016, in 2017, in 2018, in 2019, 2020, where it's still happening today in 2022? They emigrated into Europe. What's supposed to happen next? Oh, what's that next part? Performed jihad.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this the end of chapter 8?
Yes.
It's got to be, because I see the first definition or
Yes.
word. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This one only had 75, and I know
Hey.
chapter 9 has more than 75.
What were we talking about a little while ago about there was what we're told about the order of the Quran? What was said longest is said first. Is that true?
That's the story, but clearly it violates even that definition of how it's
So,
put together.
and you said the first surah is how long?
I believe it's 7 verses.
Okay, and now we read surahs that had like 200 verses.
Well, yeah, you got the biggest one, is Surah Baqarah, which is chapter 2. That has 286, and that, if I'm not mistaken, is the longest chapter in the Quran.
Okay,
And I
so
think the shortest
they're
one
not
is
even
3
consistent
verses.
with the length.
Yeah.
So my question is again,
it violates that rule.
Yeah. So how do you get this? So their claim that what's said longest is said first doesn't make sense. So the question is really, did they throw things up in the air and ask, and then decide, okay, it fell this way, so we're going to do it this way? I mean, it's nothing really defining. I mean, they make one claim in it, and it isn't. It's obviously not true.
Yeah, so 74, and those who believed and immigrated and performed jihad for the sake of Allah, and those who gave asylum and help, those are the true believers. They will receive forgiveness and generous provision. So basically, it repeats and just changes the last part of the sentence. 75.
Yeah, this is repeated about 5 times in the Quran.
I don't know, but I know for sure this is the
I know
time.
it because I think it's 5 times because it's I've got it in my research. Yeah.
Okay. 75. And those who believed afterward and immigrated and performed jihad with you, so those are of you.
So you people in Europe, be prepared.
Yeah.
and us Americans who brought the emigration of 100,000 followers of Islam, what are they planning on doing next?
Don't remind me, man. I am so.
And this is from the guy who told Muslims to commit acts of jihad. Oh my gosh.
And this is the problem with the government. They don't read this crap. If they read this crap and they understood, they would say, no, we don't want these kind of people in our country. Because eventually it's going to come down to a civil war. It's going to be them or us. Now, you and I will be dead. Probably even my son will be dead. But who knows? Maybe his kids will have to deal with this. Why? Because our idiot folks that are in charge of our governments didn't study the book called The Art of War.
Well, you know what? We do have people who were heads of this country we have people who were heads of the country who were followers of Islam. Obama is one of them. And we have John Kerry's son-in-law, and we have several others who had no problem following Islam. So if we look at those people as acting deceitfully, that's why we're at.
Mr. John Brennan.
Yeah. Convert to Islam in Saudi Arabia, yes.
Mm-hmm. But see, and this is funny because if you read the Constitution, Article 6 would preclude these people from coming in here because their ultimate goal is to overthrow the Constitution. And I believe it says anybody, any group who seeks to overthrow the law of the land, those people should not be allowed in the country. But hey, we open up our arms and we say, come on in, because we're so stupid that we think that if you come here, you're going to obey our rules. And these people say, yeah, we'll obey it until we get the numbers, and then we're going to screw you over. So good luck, folks. I see civil unrest and civil wars in all these countries that took in. Luckily for us, we've got the third most populated country. It's going to take them a while because I think they're less than 3%, probably not even 3%. But again, we don't know because we keep importing them like it's going out of style. And I've noticed that saw a picture of a whole bunch of people that crossed over in Arizona, and I swear some of those people look like they came from like the African countries. I
Well,
didn't.
those are called extracontinentals,
Yeah.
and Todd Bensman's been writing great amount of articles on them on this. So I still tell people go to the Center for Immigration Studies, look up Todd Bensman's articles. They're shocking. I mean, he goes out and I think just yeah, pay attention to his work. And look, there's a lot of videos out. He's now on Fox News and a whole bunch of places. Just that's the information is just mind numbing.
All right, so let's finish 75 here. So those are of you, and those who are united by the wombs, blood relatives, are preferred to each other in the book of Allah. Surely Allah knows all things.
Is he here? Wait a minute. And they're preferred to each other in the book. Is he encouraging inbreeding here?
That sounds
That's
like it.
that's kind of.
I mean, we do know that is very popular amongst the Pakistani Muslims. I believe in UK, there's about a 40% of the Muslims born there are inbred.
So wait a minute. We're starting chapter 9. Is this the last chapter in the? Is this the last chapter?
It's
Period.
not the last. It is the one before the last.
Okay, so 9 is one of the last chapters.
Yes. And this is the only chapter that doesn't have the Bismillah. Because
So also this is, if this is one of the last, that means that almost everything else, if anything's said in this chapter, it could probably abrogate whatever else was said.
That is the rule of abrogation as I learned. If there's any conflict between two verses, the later overrides the former. So any nice verse that says to you your religion, to me my religion, when this one abrogates that nice little verse.
And I've actually got Islamic books that say that.
Yeah.
From the Muslim.
Now there are disagreements as to how many verses are abrogated and which one.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my I'm gonna grab a portion. I got something here that I'll find it. It just it's mind numbing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Wiki Islam does have the verses that are abrogated. I think there were over 200. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've got it written down in here someplace.
But it depends on which sources, which scholars. Some scholars believe there's only 4 or 5. Other scholars believe there's 20 or 50. So let me see if I can find something on it. Okay, let me see. List of abrogated verses. Wiki Islam. Yeah, here we go. Abrogated verses. I think, yeah, this has a pretty good list. Yeah, it tells you which ones abrogate. Yeah, this one has a, yeah. Let me put this in the chat in case anybody wants to. Okay, where is the chat? See over here. In case somebody wants to take a look at the verses that have been abrogated according to this one source. Okay, generous Quran. Okay. All right. While you're doing that, I'm going to continue. Notice that this is the final portion of the revelation of Muhammad, claimed to receive from his angel Gabriel. It does not include the statement in the name of Allah, the merciful, the merciful. It begins with the word innocent in the Arabic language. Allah and his messenger Muhammad are innocent concerning the killing of the idolaters, the Christians and the Jews, especially those who Muhammad had made a previous covenant not to kill. Never trust a Muslim, is what I say. All right. Allah and his messenger are innocent from the polytheists with whom you have a covenant. So travel in the land 4 months and know that you will not hinder Allah and that Allah will shame the infidels. I did not know that you could hinder a God, but clearly Allah can't be hindered.
Gee, but what does that mean if God can be? That says quite a lot. I mean, does that mean
I
Allah
mean, hinder
can
would
be
be like a
slowed down by
roadblock.
humans?
Yeah, I mean, if I hinder you, that means I stop you from doing something. So how can we stop God from doing anything? Again, this goes with the other one that we just read, that Allah is waiting for the afterlife, or He chooses the afterlife, the hereafter. So Allah is a human being. I'm gonna have to remember that one. I'm pretty sure you're taking note. Okay, so travel in the land for 4 months and know that you will not hinder Allah, and that Allah will shame the infidels. And the announcement from Allah and His messenger to the people on the bigger pilgrimage day, that Allah and His messenger are innocent from the polytheists. So if you repent, so it will be better for you. But if you turn away, so know that you will not hinder Allah. Again, we're hindering Allah. We're stopping Allah from doing something. All ham due to Allah. And give the good news to those who became infidels with a painful torment.
Ouch. He likes painful torment, though.
I'm telling you, man. He sounds like he would be really good for the CIA, part of the torture group that they have when they go to the black sites and they kind of make you disappear and they torture you.
Yeah. Just if you become a follower of Islam, you're following what Allah likes.
Except for the polytheists with whom you made a covenant. Then they did not fail anything of you, nor aided anyone against you. So fulfill to them your covenant through their time. Surely Allah loves the fearer. So apparently, there's a time period as to when you can be good to these polytheists, but after those times, you go and kill them. Oh, let me pull up chapter 10 and then back up a little bit so I can read the
Nim Grace, John Brennan. You can read about John Brennan's conversion to Islam. That John Guandolo writes about it. I share about it, so you can go read those documents. In order for him to stay in Saudi Arabia, he had to convert, and that's something he did.
Yeah, Nim Grace. All sources point to him being a convert of Islam. I read it was fake. Nah, it's not fake.
No,
but anyway, let's
not.
Continue. Good to see you, Nim Grace. Muslims are commanded to kill all polytheists who do not accept Islam. According to Muslim scholars, this verse abrogates 124 other verses.
Oh, okay. So I found it. Found it in this book. This is called
the entire Quran.
Jasser Auda said, this is from Jasser Auda's Maqasid al-Sharia, a beginner's guide. And I'm on page 28. And it says, another revealing example is verse 9:5 of the Quran, which has come to be named the verse of the sword. And then you go ahead and read it in Osama's version, and I'll tell you what the rest of it says here. It says over 200 verses, though.
Muslims are commanded to kill the polytheists who do not accept Islam, according to Muslim scholars. This verse abrogates 124 other verses throughout the entire Quran, which indicate any compassion for Christians and Jews. Also notice verse 6 is abrogated by verse 5. Now, I am aware that verse 5 is called the verse of the sword. It abrogates all treaties.
He says here, Jasser Auda, this is one of the, he works for the International Institute of Islamic Thought. And he says it's perceived to be in disagreement with more than 200 other verses of the Quran, all calling for dialogue, freedom of belief, forgiveness, peace, and even patience. Conciliation between these different evidences somehow was not an option. Yeah. And this is, this book is really, really thin. I mean, if you can see how thin that is, that was the beginner's guide to Sharia and put out by IIIT.
Oh, okay. And you gotta believe what they put out. Okay. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, verse 5. So when the forbidden months are past, number one, okay, pre-Islamic tradition of not fighting during the 4-month periods, which we don't know which 4 months those are, by the way.
Winter.
Oh, it's the winter months.
I think it's a winter month type thing. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh,
It's
winter's
a season is how we should look
I,
at it.
I was going to say because winter is only 3 months, so somebody added an extra month in there. So when the forbidden months are past, so kill the polytheists wherever you find them, and take them as captives. Actually, I do not believe as captives is in there, which is why Osama has it in the brackets. And besiege them and lay wait for them with every kind of ambush. Now, notice, does this sound like defensive to you? Doesn't sound defensive to me.
There's nothing defensive there.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're laying in wait,
yep,
and you're besieging, you are not being defensive. Besiege
yeah,
is when you go to take a castle, you're fighting from the outside. There's nothing defensive about that.
right. So if they repent and accept Islam and perform the prayer and bring the legal alms, apparently there's illegal alms. We don't know what those are. So leave their way free. I'm pretty sure Allah is all knowing and know. Okay, so surely Allah is forgiving, merciful.
And it has to do with they have to pay the jizya to be allowed to live another year. So
yeah,
that's what that is.
Yeah, we haven't got that yet. Legal alms, that stuff makes me hungry. Okay. And if any one of the polytheists asks you for a shelter, so give him a shelter until he hears the word of Allah. Then let him reach his place of safety. This is because they are people who do not know. Okay. How can it be that polytheists have a covenant with Allah and with his messenger, except those with whom you had a covenant at the forbidden mosque? We don't know where this forbidden mosque is. So as long as they are straight with you, okay, so be straight with them. Yeah, let's not be crooked with them. Surely Allah loves the fearer. Okay.
Wait a minute. What if they're crook, or what if they lie to us and we haven't lied to them? Is that still allowed from what we're hearing here?
I don't know. Your guess is
Well, and the reason I'm asking that is because under Sharia it says if something is obligatory to Islam, you're allowed to lie. In Sharia it says that.
Yeah, you can't lie.
So you can lie to anyone as long as the goal is obligatory under Islam. That's in Reliance of the Traveler.
I mean, come on, you can lie to your wife. Come on. If you can lie to your wife, okay, then you can lie for anything. All right, verse 8. How, if they overcome you, they will not regard you, they will not regard with you the kinship or the covenant. They will please you with their mouths, and their hearts reject. And most of them are transgressors. Okay, number 9. Too bad we don't have Osama. He would have probably give us some good stories about this from Al-Tabari and Kothobi. They purchased with the verses of Allah a small price, so they prevented others from his way. Wow, you can buy Allah's verses for a small price.
Man, what does that say about it? I mean, if he gets paid to write verses, does that mean? I mean, it's like fortune telling. You pay someone to do fortune telling.
I guess, but it looks like Allah's verses are not worth it, but accept a small price. All right.
So you can't trust what he's putting out. Is what you're saying.
So they prevented others from his way. How did they prevent them? Surely evil is what they are doing. Okay. They do not regard in a believer the kinship or a covenant, and those are the transgressors. So now we have, and those are the transgressors. We came from, and most of them are transgressors. Now those are the transgressors.
Well, so they do not regard in a believer the kinship or a covenant, and those are. I mean, so when you read this, those who do not regard, It's really confusing. Those do not regard in a believer the kinship or a covenant. They do. So if you don't regard a covenant of a believer, so you would be the opposing party then.
I would think so.
And that would make you a transgressor. Okay, I get that.
That would put you not in the good book of Allah.
So you would be the ones who the jihadis are out to kill. All right.
Yep. You'll have a sign on your forehead that says "kill him." Finally got my muzzle for my dog to see if she doesn't bite herself. Okay, so if they repent and perform the prayer and bring legal alms, don't we just read this?
Yes, another repetition.
I mean, this is very annoying. So if they repent and perform the prayer and bring the legal alms, so they are your brothers in the religion, and we expound on the verses to the people who know.
So then if here's the thing, they send out a message, supposedly first. I mean, I wish they could be consistent, but supposedly Muhammad did this. He sent out messages and said, look, convert or die, basically. You know, if you don't convert, we're going to come kill you. So he sent letters out to the emperor, the Byzantine emperor. He sent messages out to all over. And what did his group do? They went and killed. And eventually, I mean, it took them a long time to kill off Byzantium, but the Byzantine Empire. But yeah.
Okay, Muslims are commanded to engage in war with those who insult the religion of Islam. Ooh. Okay. And if they break their oath after their covenant and stab in your religion, ooh, I guess stab would be another word for insult. So engage in war with the leaders of the infidelity. Okay.
So just being an unbeliever is reason for them to engage in war with you. Doesn't sound like it's a defensive war at all.
You got to insult them. You got to insult them. Surely there is no oath for them. Perhaps they may desist, but 9-5 abrogated any oaths that existed, any treaties that were at hand, and no more future treaties are allowed. So Muslims
but only allowed if you are too weak.
Yeah. But Allah didn't say that. Okay, 13. Will you not engage in war with people who broke their oath and intended to expel the messenger, and they attack you first time? Do you fear them? So Allah is more worthy that you fear him if you were believers.
So even the followers of Islam have to fear him. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, because you got to fear Allah because he's more worthy than if you fear him. If you are a believer, engage in war with them. Allah will torment them by your hands and put them to shame and give you victory over them and heal chests of believing people. So see, you are to torment the people by your hands. And then Allah is going to torment them by his hands, his two right hands. All right, and he's going to heal the chests. Now, what is he going to heal the chests from? We don't know. And he takes away the rage in their hearts. Okay. And Allah relents on whom he wills. And Allah is knowing, wise. Okay. Or you thought that you will be left alone while Allah knows those among you who perform jihads. And they did not take strange friends rather than Allah and his messenger and the believers. Oh man, there's so much conjoined twins here. Now we have triplets here. Allah and his messenger and the believers. And Allah is aware of what you do. Okay. It was not for polytheists to visit the mosque of Allah. They witness against themselves.
Wait. The mosque of Allah. Are we still talking about Mecca, the mosque? Wasn't it originally for polytheists?
We have no clue. I mean,
well, according to Muhammad didn't come up with all this stuff on his own. The Surah, if we're only reading the Quran, we can't know all this. But according to the Surah al-Rasul, Muhammad did all this stuff while the pagans were doing the same exact things.
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently the pagans used to do Hajj and do all that good stuff.
Yeah, all these polytheists were doing the exact same
Yeah,
thing. So
this is why we're getting to the fun part. Okay, so it's not for the polytheists to visit the mosque of Allah, okay, because they witness against themselves with infidelity. Those their works are in vain, and in the fire they will abide forever. All right, now this is where Muslims are not allowed to let anyone into the mosques who do not believe and pay the religious tax, the zakat. Those who only take the pilgrimage are not
no, actually, no.
punishment.
This is the jizya. Those who do not believe and pay the jizya. That would be the religious tax. Would be the jizya.
No, I
It's
think,
not. A zakat is a wealth tax on Muslims.
yeah, but it's a religious tax for them.
No,
Because,
no. It's a zakat is only on Muslims.
okay, but this is saying do not let anyone in the mosque. So even if you paid the jizya, you're not allowed to go into the mosque. That's why this is not the jizya, because even if you paid the jizya, okay, because it says Muslims are not allowed. So this is referring to Muslims. Muslims are not allowed to let anyone into the mosque who do not believe.
Okay, so yeah, zakat. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
pay the
Because
religious tax. So
this is interesting verse because
yeah.
it almost there's a hint here from the way this is said. I mean, almost a hint that this is long. This was written long after Muhammad was gone, and the Ridda Wars had taken place.
Right.
So maybe, I mean, that kind of says something that they added this. I mean, that this is here. Is there a question? I mean, it adds a question. Was this written long after Muhammad? Because Abu Bakr, his war was all about cleanse. You know, not it had nothing to do about leaving Islam. It all had to
No, it's
do with
more
paying
about not
zakat.
paying the zakat.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, Paul, that this is all this that we now know that all this was put together according to J. Smith. All of this was put together in the middle of the 8th century, or started being put together in the middle of the 8th century. That's why everything that we have, the first Sirah, the Tafsirs, the Hadiths, anything about Islam comes from at least the mid 8th century, 749 onwards. So it looks like things got redacted backwards to make it look like this actually happened during the time of Muhammad, when in reality it didn't, which also probably explains some of the mistakes. Okay, so only Muslims after Muhammad took over Mecca, only Muslims are allowed to go to Mecca, to go to the Kaaba and do their little thing. Okay, 18. Surely only those who believed in Allah in the last day and performed the prayer and bring the legal alms. I think I know what the legal alms are, the zakat. And fear no one except Allah, can visit the mosque of Allah, so perhaps those will be among the guided. Okay, so now only Muslims can go into the mosque of Allah. But there was no mosque of Allah. The Kaaba is not a mosque. I would think a mosque would be a building.
You know, that's another important thing. I mean, this is where it gets conflicting. So if the Kaaba is a mosque, and that's where they're calling it the forbidden mosque, right?
Yeah.
So if that's a mosque,
Majid
we have a
al-Haram.
problem. Because
Yeah,
mosques could have a totally different meaning.
I don't see a mosque. I've never seen pictures of a mosque in that. It's just a Kaaba, so that's another thing. So perhaps those would be among the guided. So perhaps, okay, Allah doesn't know if they're guided or not. Okay, 19. Do you make the giver of drink to the pilgrims and the guardian of the forbidden mosque like those who believed in Allah in the last day and performed jihad for the sake of Allah? Do you make the giver of the drink? And
So I mean, if you're thirsty and you're a pilgrim, I get it. What are you giving? The giver of the drink, and so it's like the person who is giving a drink to a pilgrim.
This is mass confusion on
Yeah.
steroids. Okay. They are not okay. Do jihad for the sake of Allah. They are not equal before Allah, and Allah will not guide the unjust people. Okay.
Hmm.
We know that already. Allah, Allah does not guide. So those people are screwed. Muslims who perform jihad with their money and with their lives for the sake of Allah are of greater worth. So guys, don't sit home on your butts. Go and perform that jihad. Okay, spend that money. Don't be buying the hookers. Verse 20, those who believed and immigrated and performed jihad. Okay, read this thing again. Perform jihad for the sake of Allah with their money and with their lives of the highest degree with Allah and with their lives. Okay, again.
This is like spot. I think this is the third or fourth verse that we've read like
not
this.
only that, this doesn't
Emigrate
make
and
sense.
perform jihad.
Okay, those who believed and immigrated and performed jihad for the sake of Allah with their money and with their lives. Somebody forgot are of the highest degree with Allah, because it's kind of like a run-on with their lives of the highest degree. Okay, I'm gonna have to give Allah a lesson from a guy who is not a native. I was gonna say native Arabic speaker, native English speaker. That's a bad. With their lives are of the highest degree with Allah, and those are the triumph. Okay, 21.
So again, people in Europe, you've seen the emigration. People in America, Canada, wherever, they're emigrating to do what? Perform jihad.
Yep. Their Lord gives them good news of mercy from himself and of his good pleasure in the gardens. They will have it they will have in it everlasting bliss. So yes, fight for Allah. He's gonna give you everlasting bliss. You're gonna be stoned out of your head having sex all day and all night. It's gonna be a rock fest. It's gonna be a rave. They will abide in it forever and ever. Surely Allah has a great wage. Yeah. All right. Muslims are commanded to not take their own family members as friends if those family members are not believers. And they say, respect your parents. Yes, respect your parents, Muslims, but only if they're Muslim. O you who have believed, do not take your fathers or your brothers as friends if they love infidelity above belief, and whoever takes them as friend among you, so those are the unjust. So therefore, if your mom and dad are not Muslim, do not take them as friends, because then you are just as guilty as they are. And you know what happens to you.
That's a huge statement. I mean,
yes,
to say you're supposed to disown family members if they leave Islam, and then it's kind of ignoring what the law says under Islam. What are they supposed to do? I mean, this is being kind in this respect, but what does Islam do to people who leave Islam?
Kills them.
Yeah. So it's not just being disowned; you get killed.
But then again, so you disown your parents, right, and your brothers and sisters. Now, notice Allah forgot to say sister. So does that mean that you can take unbelieving sisters? That's a good question. But we know that
would be good for sex slaves.
Yeah, but you know that if you leave your family, let's say you're the son and you become an infidel, you become a Christian, you become a Jew, you become an atheist, your parents will disown you. So hey, it's only fair that the sons disown their parents, because after all, your parents can disown you. Fair play, don't you think? That's Allah. Say if your fathers and your sons, say if your fathers and your sons and your brethren and your wives and your relatives and the money which you have gained and merchandise which you fear may be unsold and dwellings in which you delight was more love to you than Allah and his messenger, and performing of jihad for his sake, so wait until Allah brings his command. Allah does not guide the transgressing people. So you better not love your relatives, money, your merchandise, because you fear it won't be unsold. Now, this is where Ibn Kathir says Muslims started complaining when the polytheists weren't allowed to do Hajj. And they said, hey, our stores will be closed. We won't have any money to feed our family. So this is where we're getting to the good stuff. We're getting there. We're on 25. Okay, number 3. Let me get ahead. Okay, a battlefield. Number 3. Okay. Indeed, Allah gave you victory in many battlefields. And on what did I just say number 3 was? And
Battlefield?
on
You said
3.
battlefield?
Yeah, and on a battlefield. Okay, and on a battlefield day when you were pleased with your large numbers, so it did not avail you anything, and the land became so tight against you, despite its width, then you turned back and fled. So
Wait. Didn't we just read earlier? We just read in we just read earlier today in chapter 8 that
chapter 8, verse 65 and 66.
So we read that Allah has no problem with he didn't know that. So are we still talking about that same battle where he's right here? It's kind of weird. You think about it. They have a large number. They're pleased with the large number, and they go to battle, and they get their butts kicked, and it's not Allah's fault.
Yeah, this is where Allah sends down the angels. Okay. Then Allah sent down his tranquility on his messenger and on the believers. And he sent down troops, which you did not see. Well, if he did not see, how do you know he sent down troops? Maybe Allah's lying. And he tormented those who became infidels. And this is the reward of the infidels.
Wait. Is Allah inflicting terrorism?
Yes. We know Allah inflicts terror. It's in the other verses where Allah says, remember in the chapter where we read, Allah tells the angels to strike people's neck, to behead people and cut off their fingertips.
Yes.
That was the angels. Yeah, Allah is a really nice guy. 27. All right. Then after this, Allah relents on whom he wills, and Allah is forgiving and merciful.
Wait a minute. He just talked about killing people. How is he relenting?
Tormenting people, okay, who become infidels. Yeah, that's a living God. Okay,
How
now
is he
here comes the
forgiving it
good
all
stuff.
at this point? You got to start asking, how's that merciful?
Muslims are commanded to not allow anyone who worships other gods near the forbidden mosque. This includes Christians, since Muslims believe that they worship Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and God. This rule is still practiced in Saudi Arabia. Yes. I will have a cow when Saudi Arabia allows the first church to be built. Then you know that is the end of Islam. Okay, all you who have believed, surely only the polytheists are unclean. So do not let them come near the forbidden mosque after this their year. I don't know what that means. Do they own a year? And if you are afraid of coming to poverty, again, this is where Ibn Kathir talks about this verse that's coming up comes into play because Muslims were afraid of poverty. So Allah will enrich you from his bounty if he wills. Surely Allah is knowing, wise.
So so you can't trust. Allah will enrich you if he will. You can't trust that he will.
Yes, we don't know if he will. Adrian, we are in chapter 9, Surah Al-Tawbah. You know, the good verse. Okay, so this is a good one. Engage in war with those who do not believe in Allah, nor in the last day, nor forbid what Allah and his messenger forbid, nor believe in the religion of the truth, Islam. Among those who have been given the book, we don't know which book, until they pay the jizya, the humiliation tax, out of hand, and they are subdued. Now notice this does not say engage in war with those who fight you. Engage in war with those who are fighting you, who are attacking you. No, the qualifier is
those
engage in war with those who do not believe in Allah, nor the last day, nor the other crap that's in there. Okay, and
so
until
right here, I just want to point out, it says, nor forbid what Allah and his messenger forbid. So that is shirk. Allah has a partner,
of
his
course.
messenger.
Allah can't separate himself from his messenger.
Well, that might
Again,
be what Allah desired that you're after.
we don't know which messenger, because there was 124,000. We don't know what was forbidden. That's just it. There's nothing here that says I have not seen anything that's forbidden. Okay, now the reason why 29
They did forbid rape.
Yeah. I mean, the reason that 929 was given, we know it's to fight the Jews and the Christians. Now, I don't know about the Jews, which Jews. We don't know. We definitely know that the Byzantine. But again, we don't really know who the people of the book are. There's nothing in the Quran that says the people of the book are the Jews and the Christians. Again, it's all assumed by the scholars. Because it talks about Nasara. I have no clue who a Nasara is. Okay, but this is why there's the why you should fight the Jews and the Christians. Because in in verse 30, Usama says, infidels accept rabbis and monks as their lords rather than God and Christ. And the Jews say Ozer. Let me see what 6 is. Azera, non-Arabic word of Hebrew origin. I don't think there's any Jew that says that. I'm still waiting for a Muslim to tell me.
And in fact, no Jew would even call anyone Allah.
Right. And the Jews said Ozer is the son of Allah. And the Nasara said the Christ is the son of Allah. Notice Nasara is not Christians. The word for Christians is not Nasara. So that must be a sect of heretics. The Christ is the son of Allah. This is their saying with their mouths. They repeat the sayings of those who became infidels before. Okay, so wait a minute. So other infidels used to say that Christ was the son of Allah? How could that be? If there were no Christians until after Jesus. How perverted they are. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, they repeat the sayings of those who became infidels before. Allah engages in war with them. Whoa, what war did Allah fight? I mean, Allah put on an armor. Oh, by the way, did you know that Muhammad was so scared of fighting and getting killed that he used to put 2 armors on him?
And it's kind of funny because in the Surah Al-Rasul, it talks about him wearing multiple
multiple chain
armor, but there was no chain. There was no chain armor back then.
yes, there was, Paul. In the 7th century, there was already chain link armor.
They've got it. All right, it comes slightly later, but it's not.
I think when I looked at it, that is one of the problems where it says King David. I think it came in the I think it was like the 4th century BC or something. I'll have to look at it. But by his time, there was already some chain link armor. Clearly not during the time of King David. Okay, those who became infidels with them. Okay, Allah engages in war with them. Finally, we see Allah engaging in war with them. How perverted they are. And in 31, this continues as to why. They take their rabbis and their monks as lords rather than Allah and the Christ. Notice, we have Allah and the Christ as one. Okay, the son of Mary. And they are not commanded except to serve one God. There is no God except him. Praise to him above what they partner. They desire to extinguish Allah's light with their mouths, but Allah refused, except that his light be fulfilled, even if the infidels hate it. Okay, Allah has a light. Does he use 3A batteries or AAA or AA batteries? Okay. What do we got? 634. Okay. Allah gives Islam victory over all other religions.
Oh.
He is who sent his messenger with the guidance and the true religion, so that he may make it prevail over every other religion, even if the polytheists hate it. So notice, they say there is no compulsion. This right here is saying, hey, you're going to believe in Islam even if you hate it. Now, does that sound like compulsion to you, Paul?
No, it really can. Compulsion. You have no choice.
Yeah.
And
So
this is
apparently, it doesn't matter if you hate Islam, you're gonna love it because Allah is going to make sure that you love Islam. O you who have believed, surely many of the rabbis and the monks do consume people's money with vanity and prevent others from the way of Allah. So
so
you mean rabbis can't buy good stuff? They can't buy a Mercedes Benz because they're rabbis? Come on.
so wait a minute, isn't it? What were we told earlier that Allah is the real reason we don't follow Allah?
Yes.
So now
If he
he's
doesn't
blaming other
yeah,
people,
if he doesn't
but
want
it's his fault.
yeah, if he doesn't want to guide you, you're not guided. So maybe if he
So
would have
Allah's
guided
the
the rabbis,
master of playing the victim. Is that what we're
yeah,
seeing here?
apparently. I mean, honestly, I do know Muslims do like to play the victim, especially when they debate.
Oh,
And those who treasure the gold and silver do not spend it for the sake of Allah. So listen, you got to spend for Allah. You got to buy Allah Mercedes Benz, Jaguar. So give them the good news of a painful torment. Okay, because you're not spending your money on Allah, they're going to give you the painful news that you're going to be painfully
there's
tormented.
there's some humor in this too,
Yeah,
because if you spend what you have, then
you're
you
still
can't
going to be
be taxed.
tormented.
Then you don't have to pay zakat
Yeah, could
because it's
be.
a wealth tax. It's not an income tax.
On the day they will be heated in the fire of hell. Hey, listen, if this is winter, that's a good place. You want to get some fire. And their foreheads and their sides and their backs will be branded by it. Okay, so you're going to be burnt. This is what you treasure to yourself. So taste what you are treasuring. I'm pretty sure nobody was treasuring the fire burning the hell out of them. All right. Surely the number of months with Allah is 12. Ooh, are we sure? I don't know. Okay. But if Allah has 12 months, and we know that the months were created by humans.
Oh, so we have another problem here. If we're talking about 12 months and Islam follows a lunar calendar,
Hmm. Now, does the lunar calendar have 12 months?
I think it. I have to go double check that. I think it might actually have 12 months, but you know what? It's still not the same. That's why the months change every year, where Ramadan is not held in the same time. So we have an issue. I think they do have 12 months, but it's crazy. I mean, the calendar is much different. I thought it was longer.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought it was
about
different.
it's about 12 days shorter than a solar year.
Yeah.
Now, but here's the problem. If you're a Muslim, you can never celebrate your birthday on the same day. Every year, your birthday is on a different day. That's gotta suck.
So you
Okay.
really don't have the same birthday, but at the
No,
same time,
right. Whereas, let's say my birthday is on the 23rd. It's always on the 23rd. Now, the day might be different. It could be on a Thursday one year, it could be on a Saturday. But if you're a Muslim, let's say you're born on the 23rd. Next year, your birthday might be on the 29th. The following year, it might be the following month, maybe the 3rd. This is how screwed up this religion is.
it might be at a different time of the year as time
Yeah,
goes on. I mean, it might be in this
I
fall
think
versus the winter because
yeah,
this lunar calendar doesn't
I
stay the same.
think I have something that has I don't have that spreadsheet up, but I think I have something that shows the different days that Muhammad's birthday that would be Muhammad's birthday, and it's funny, one year it's in November, the next year it's in December. All right, in Allah's book, a day He created the heavens and the earth. Okay, in Allah's book, a day He created the heavens and the earth. 4 of those are forbidden. Which 4 days? We don't know.
It's if in Allah's book, a day He created the heavens and earth. That almost says, that says like Earth is created in a day. When I read that,
Yeah, that's how I
and,
read
and
it
then
too.
4 of those are forbidden. I'm not sure what He's talking about there.
I don't know.
4 of what? Are we talking about Allah's creation being forbidden?
Now, my
Or what?
understanding is the Quran says that everything was created in 6 days.
Yeah. Well, he says it's either 6 or 8. He doesn't. Allah
Yeah.
doesn't seem to know, but um,
But then the Hadith says he created for 7 days because the last thing he created was Adam on Friday, and he started creation on Saturday. So Saturday to Friday is 7 days. This
Allah,
is the
Allah
right
doesn't know.
religion. This is the right religion. What religion is the right religion? We don't know. Everything is assumed. Your Honor, this is the right religion. Okay, what's the religion? It's the right religion, Your Honor. Don't worry about it. So do not do injustice to yourself during them. During them what? The 4 forbidden days? I thought it was 4 forbidden months. So now we
Yeah,
have
this is where it gets confusing.
yeah. Okay. This is the religion, so do not do injustice to yourselves during them and engage in war with all the polytheists as they engage in war with all of you.
So you have forbidden months or you don't have forbidden months. Because
I
if
don't
you're
know.
engaging with the polytheists, now it sounds like there's no
Oh,
forbidden
I got
times.
it. I got it. It's Allah has 12 months. 4 of those are forbidden.
For
Okay.
war.
Yeah, apparently it's not very clear, but yeah, you got to go back at the beginning, I don't know
Yeah.
what the
I think it
what
was Surah
the
9:4, 9:5 that they were talking about forbidden
yeah,
months.
9, yeah. Now, okay, so okay, the months with Allah is 12 months, okay. In Allah's book, a day he created the heavens and the earth. But see, the problem is now he's talking about it a day.
And then he goes to 4. So we
Right.
can't
The
figure
4 of
it.
those
It's
are
not.
forbidden. So
It
what the
doesn't
hell does
follow.
this
But then
right?
that's Allah. He
What
doesn't
does have to
follow.
do with 12 months? Now this should have been up here. And with Allah, the months with Allah is 12 months. 4 of those are forbidden. That would have
Yeah.
made sense.
Yeah. But
Instead, he
then we
goes
can't expect that. We're talking
in
about the
Allah's
Quran.
book. Now, clearly, this can't be Allah speaking, but in Allah's
Muhammad.
book, the day He created the heavens and the earth. Okay, okay. This is just okay. This is the religion. Do not okay, okay. As they engage in war and know that Allah is with the fearer. Okay, surely the postponing is only added to infidelity. What the heck?
Postponing of what?
I don't know.
Jihad is all I can think of. Postponing
Yeah.
of jihad is adding to infidelity.
Those who became infidels are led astray by it. Okay, I guess infidelity.
So is now Allah in it because he says he's responsible for us not being his followers.
Okay, they make it lawful for you. Okay, they make it lawful for 1 year and forbid it 1 year, so that they may agree with the number of months which Allah has forbidden. So they make lawful what Allah has forbidden. The evil of their work is beautified to them, and Allah will not guide the infidel people. Okay, this is a oh man, this is so poorly written. But this is a linguistic miracle. Okay, all right. This is a warning to those who will not give up this world and go to war for Allah. I'm sorry, I can't go to war for a guy who is very confused and can't put together a coherent sentence. Number 7 is perform jihad. Okay. Okay, 38. Oh, you who have believed, what is the matter with you? When it was said to you, march forth for the sake of Allah.
That's performing jihad. Yeah.
You cling heavily to the earth. Are you satisfied with the world's life rather than the hereafter? Don't you want to join Allah who wants the hereafter with you? Okay, I just added that in there, folks. So what is the enjoyment of the world's life and the hereafter but a little? Okay, so what is the enjoyment of the world's life and the hereafter but a little? Okay, that's bad. 39. If you do not march forth, he will torment you with a painful torment, and he will place another people in your place, and you will not harm him anything. Harm who? Allah? Or the new person that's going
Well,
to
Allah can
replace you?
get hurt. Don't hurt him.
Okay. Notice this is like the hadith that says, if you do not sin, Allah is going to replace you. And if you do not fight for Allah, Allah is going to replace you with somebody who fights. And he's going to make sure that you have a torment, that he's going to torment you with a painful torment. Okay. And Allah has the might over everything. Really. Allah didn't have the might over Iblis, who told Allah, I'm giving you the finger. I am not prostrating. All right. So Allah
Well,
clearly.
I mean, we just have had a passage where Allah longs for the hereafter.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Allah's ready to die.
But
Or
we know
looking
that
towards
Allah
that.
does not have the might over everything, because there's going to be a Jewish tree that's going to give Allah the finger and not tell the Muslims that there's a Jew hiding behind it. So there you go. Allah really has no might over anything. If a tree can give Allah the finger, no wonder you and I are giving Allah the finger. 40. If you do not help him, help who? Allah?
So
So
Allah
indeed,
needs help. Okay.
I guess he's
Again,
talking
he's a
about
pretty
the
small
believers.
God.
If you do not help him, so indeed Allah helped him. Okay, so this is
So
talking
wait,
about.
if that means that Allah has a helper, that's a
Yeah.
partner. If you do not help him, so indeed Allah helps him. So is this putting, if you don't help Muhammad, if we put it that way, if you do not help him, and that's Muhammad, so indeed Allah helped him. Okay, so Allah has a
Yeah.
partner.
I think this is the story about Muhammad running to the cave with Abu Bakr and the spider doing the web and all that stuff. If you
Yeah,
do not
that's
help
it.
him, so indeed Allah helped him when those
Mhm.
who became infidels. But I thought they were infidels already. The people that Muhammad lived with were infidels from the get-go. They had
Yes.
always been infidels. So how did they become infidels if they were already infidels? They didn't become infidels. They were infidels. Unless he's talking about, when did they become
No, this
infidels?
is when they're talking about Muhammad and Abu Bakr in the cave, and they're saying there's two. This is quite a statement, because this is, in order for him to get there, he had to, Allah, Muhammad had to leave. He had to have his nephew, I think it is, sleep in his bed and pretend to be him, and then he runs over to Abu Bakr's house, and Abu Bakr takes off with all his money and leaves his wife and daughters penniless, and took every last penny he had. I mean, the smallest amount of money, he took it all.
Couldn't have
And
been that
left.
much if he carried it. But here's the funny thing. Okay, if you do not help him, that means if you do not help Muhammad, so indeed Allah helped him. Okay, when those who became infidels, but who became infidels? They were infidels to begin with.
That's the
Drove
crazy
him
part.
forth in the company of a second of two. That doesn't make any sense. Drove him with a company of a second of two. When they were in the cave, when he said to his companion, we don't know who his companion is, ladies and gentlemen, but he had a companion.
Well,
I
if
think
that's,
it,
and that
I
would have
think
been Abu Bakr, which
I
would,
think it
if
was the
we're talking about
dog.
Muhammad, but we can't tell
No,
from this
you are
passage.
wrong. It's the dog. It's the same dog that was in the cave in chapter 18.
Oh, so so we got new companions. So this could be this.
Yeah.
Sure, it could be
See,
the
but this is
seven. We
the
don't know how many.
this is the book.
Allah
But
doesn't
this
know.
is the but this is the book that's clear and explained in detail. But Allah couldn't tell you. And when he said to Abu Bakr, do not grieve, would have made more sense. But to his companion, what companion? I gotta find out from people 300 years later. It's Abu Bakr. Do not grieve, surely Allah is with us. So Allah sent down his tranquility upon him and supported him with troops you did not see, and made the word of those who became infidels the lower. And the word of Allah is the highest, and Allah is dear wise. So Allah is a screamer because his word is highest and the infidels are lower. Again, those people did not become infidels. They were infidels from the beginning.
So
This is
Allah
a
has to
master book.
invent that people. This is what makes him really small. In order to pretend that he's bigger, infidels have to be created.
Yeah. But Muhammad, the people in Mecca were already pagans. It's not like they became pagans. When did they become pagans? What year? What were they before they became pagans? Were they Muslim before? I don't know. Giving money and life to engage in war for Allah is best for Muslims. Those who truly believe in Allah do not ask to be exempt from wars. Okay. march forth lightly or heavily and perform jihad with your money and your lives for the sake of Allah. Again, this is best for you if you were knowing. Okay, but I don't know. That's why I'm not fighting for Allah, because I don't know. If it was an easy spoil to be taken, and a short traveling distance, they would surely have followed you. But the way seemed long to them, and they swear by Allah. Okay, if we were able, we would surely have gone forth with you. Oh, this is in reference to the expedition to Tabuk. Some people said, man, I ain't going in the heat. I ain't going to get toasty for you. It's a long way to Tabuk. They destroy themselves, and Allah knows surely that they are liars.
Wait a minute.
Allah,
Isn't Allah the best at deceit?
yes.
So if Allah's the best at deceit, I guess liars know liars. Is that what Allah's saying?
Fighting exemption from. Okay. Allah pardon you. Why did you give them permission? Exempt. Okay. Apparently. Okay. Allah pardon you. Why did you give them permission? Exemption from fighting. So apparently Muhammad gave exemption from certain people to fight until it became clear to you who were the truthful and know the liars. Okay. 44. Those who believe in Allah in the last day, they do not ask permission from performing jihad. Should say they do not ask. Okay. Yeah, all right. They do not ask permission from performing jihad. They do not ask permission. Okay. It's could have been written better, but okay. They do not ask permission from performing jihad with their money and their lives. And Allah knows the fear. Okay. Surely only those who do not believe in Allah in the last day ask permission. Okay. And their hearts doubt it. So in their doubt, they are wavering. And if they wanted to go forth, they would prepare for it. Preparations. Don't forget to bring your preparation H. It's a long ride. But Allah hated their going forth, so he made them laggards. But wait a minute. It says here, Allah hated their going forth, so he made them laggards. So whose fault is it that they lagged? Allah. Apparently, they were going too fast for Allah, and he said, slow down, buddy. And it was said, sit with those who are sitting. Okay.
So wait, this is really confusing. I mean,
Yeah.
he said, we read earlier, they emigrated and performed jihad, and now he hates their going forth. It's really confusing.
Okay, I think we're going to stop at 48 because it's 6:53. Okay, if they had gone forth, okay, so apparently I guess Allah told the people who are lagging behind because he hated them going forth to sit down with those who are sitting. Okay, 47, if they had gone forth with you, they would have not increased you except in discouragement. And had they kept moving among you, they desired the sedition for you. And among you, some would listen to them. And Allah knows the unjust. So apparently, I guess he's saying, you know what? It's better that they sit behind because they're just going to discourage you. You know? I told you you could defeat 10. They're going to tell you you can't defeat 10. So
you
better
can't
not
defeat two.
yeah. So better not bring them along with you because they're going to cause sedition. Okay, in 48, indeed, they desired the sedition before, and they turned affairs upside down for you until the truth arrived and the command of Allah appeared, and they hated it.
Allah is
Okay.
really not clear.
No, he's not. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I hope you enjoyed the Clear as Mud book because there's nothing clear about the book. Every Abdul knows that Allah needs all the help he can get. Well, Allah is definitely in need of a loan. So don't forget, if you have the money and you can afford it, please give it to Allah because he needs a loan.
And don't forget, Allah's looking for the hereafter.
Yes, and Allah gives you good interest on your loan. I got to talk to Allah. You know, I think I can float him a couple $1,000s at the right interest rate. So,
I know.
ladies and gentlemen,
Apollo's
thank
picking it up.
you.
I think you should charge them 50%.
I know. Marion, Adrian, all the other people are here, and Nem Grace. Thank you. Thank you. We'll do it again, hopefully next Friday. So I don't have any exits. So I'll just say, God bless, folks. Please read the Quran. I would advise everybody to read the Quran. Okay, but do it like we are doing. Don't just read it. Read it to try to understand it. And as you can see, we are clearly demonstrating this is the most incoherent book that I have ever read. As a matter of fact, I have never read any book that did not make sense. Oh, and here comes the bots. I was wondering when they were going to show up. Okay, Marion, she was on the ball. She had the hammer ready. Okay, so let's say goodbye. We'll catch you again next week. I guess maybe we'll get halfway through chapter 9 because I think chapter 9 has 126, 129 verses. Paul, thank you for coming. Don't go away. Okay, hold on. I'm going to end the end. And thank you, everybody. God bless and enjoy your weekend.